What's really going on? Bitcoin, cryptocurrency. Today, going to be taking a look at Litecoin, LTC against USDT. Going to be taking a look at some of these key technical aspects of price action moving forward. Going to be assessing some of these pivotal areas of support and resistance I believe we're going to be interacting with in the very near future here. Are you bullish? Are you bearish on Litecoin, on Bitcoin? Do you trade? Do you hold? Or do you let the price action unfold? Will we see this rejection kind of play out into kind of lower levels? Are we, is the rejection strong enough to plow through this significant line around $177 to interact with my next support at $116? Or are we bullish enough to, bounce off of this line, plow through that pending resistance, and are we going to interact with the $300, $400 Litecoin very soon here? Let me know in the comments down below what you think about price action moving forward, what you're doing with your bag if you have one. Now, jumping right into it, to kind of recap price action that's been interacting with this trend line that I've started back in the kind of 21st of October of 2020. We have price action rallying upward and then coming down to kind of find it as support, we kind of veer away, we kind of come back down to it. And so we started interacting with significant resistance around 205 and under 225 to bring us to my kind of ascending trend line here, significant enough to break us downward all the way to that $177 support line, which acted as resistance back in the kind of 9th and 10th of January of 2021. And we broke that in the 9th of February of this year. And then we've come down for the kind of third sort of time we're interacting with a $177 line as support. And so I suspect price action at this kind of current point in time to be bearish enough to kind of plow through that $177 support line to perhaps lows of like $155, $150 kind of per Litecoin, in my opinion, as this is very significant resistance kind of just ahead. I do suspect some, like I said, it's very significant resistance kind of above 206 and under 225 moving forward, and that's definitely going to hold price action kind of at these kind of lower levels for a period of time. I believe we could very well have another repeat kind of like W-ish sort of pattern along this zone before we kind of like break up and outward again. Although I do very well suspect price action to find resistance kind of along my purple zone there and then fall below my $177 line to perhaps interact with it like down below. I suspect some more higher lows to be made relative to these kind of wicks to 146. There you got 156. We got wicks down to 117. I suspect some more really aggressive wicks down below this $177 support line to be in our very near future. Although a very, very bullish sign. So very bullish price action would be candles continuing to close above that $177 support line. And so the more daily closes we can have above that, the more short-term bullish we can be. Although, like I said, I do suspect us to get rejected off of this kind of zone of slapping, kicking, and shoving and make our way down to perhaps the $150 Litecoin. Now, when we consider EngineeringRobo along with these Fibba Zucchini, Fibba Illuminati again lines, we can see the sell to and hell come into play after the super buy 4 and moon were all coming in as we broke upward from my ascending trend line there. We were going to interact with that FOMO zone. We were looking very promising. The price action was very bullish, but this is crypto, so momentum changed very abruptly, and so we found our way back downward to these kind of previous levels that we haven't seen until kind of just like not too long ago. And so I could see here, based on these kind of Fibonacci lines and kind of these buy and sell suggestions, I do believe with the sell for and hell present, we could very well have some volatile sideways and bearish price action moving forward in the very kind of short term here. I do believe we are long-term bullish if we can maintain above that 200 daily moving average. I do have $177 support line and the 0.382 Fibonacci line at $172. It's going to be a very nice area of support. And so, like I said, candles closing above that is going to be ultimately short-term bullish. I do suspect wicks to pass below, and we could very well have a couple candle closes below that Fibonacci line or that 200 daily moving average for a period of time before kind of moving forward. But I do believe that if once we find support along that 200 daily, we can definitely assume that the uptrend is likely to continue. We have significant local resistance at $218, that 0.5 Fibonacci line between my kind of slapping zone there. The 0.618 line is going to be a nice kind of pivot point between the 0.5 and 0.786. The 0.618 line is the $264 per Litecoin, and I do believe we're going to have to, if we do end up bouncing off of $177, I suspect the 0.5 line to act as support and resistance moving forward. In addition to these kind of following Fibonacci lines, I suspect price action is going to have to kind of step its way up through those Fibonacci lines and then come back to them as support before we can kind of break the next one. So I suspect upon breaking the 0.5 line, we probably will bounce off of this 0.618 and then come back down to the 0.5 line. In my opinion, that's just kind of what I suspect is going to happen. We're going to bounce off resistance and come back down to that support, as we are going to have to kind of step our way up through this very significant resistance moving forward before we can interact with the $400 per Litecoin again. When we consider the fear and greed index, we have the FOMO zone up there at $452. So I do believe the long term for Litecoin is still present. We are still above the fear zone. We're in the kind of trading range. I do believe we're interaction with that FOMO zone to be pending in the kind of semi near future here. Although, like I said, I do believe a couple weeks, perhaps a month of sideways to occur, and I don't think we're going to recover very vertically, even though this is a very strong bounce and these are some very strong wicks and some very strong candle closes. When we consider the price of Litecoin against the price of Bitcoin, we can see a new perspective come into play here when we consider this significant resistance around 51.12 and just under 56.26 Satoshi is going to be a significant area that we're going to have to fight our way through, in my opinion. We had a very strong rejection off of 6,700 Satoshi, bringing us all the way back down through that zone of slapping and shoving local support. To my significant support line at 45.05, we fell all the way through and wicked down to almost my lowest kind of support line here at 37.29, although price action is looking to find support kind of above 41.28 and above 45.10. Although I suspect, based on this rejection from my zone as resistance, I do believe we are going to come back down to that 45.05 support line. And in fact, I do believe we are bearish enough to probably interact with that 41.37 support line just below it. In my opinion, I do suspect price action to kind of make its way downward against the price of Bitcoin. And perhaps interact with those kind of lows there before we make our way upward and interact with that 6,700 significant resistance. When we consider EngineeringRobo along with these Fibba Linguini, Fibba Lamborghini, Fibba Genie in a bottle with zucchinis, we can see India perspective come into play. We consider these sell 4, hell, sell 2, sell 3 all coming into play with this ridiculous candle open at 68.70 and then closed at 50.74, and so that was definitely enough to print all the kind of sell suggestions against the price of Bitcoin. This I do suspect with this bounce off of that 200 daily moving average against the price of Bitcoin that we could very well stay relatively bullish long term, in my opinion. Although like I keep saying, I do believe some aggressive sideways and some bearish short term price action is likely to unfold. We have the 0.786 Fibonacci line with nice support just below that 200 daily moving average, and so that 0.786 line is 42.72 Satoshi. That is likely where price action will come down to if we don't come all the way back down to my 41.30 support line there. 0.618 and the 0.5 line correlating nicely with the top and bottom of my zone of slapping, shoving, pushing, and kicking. The 0.618 at 50.99 and the 0.5 line at 56.70. I do believe the 0.618 to the 0.5 line is going to be a very significant zone. Price action is going to have to make its way through, either plow through significantly or step its way through support and resistance style. The 0.382 line is going to be a significant kind of mini pivot point or resistance just above that 0.5. The 0.382 line correlates with 62.47 Satoshi, which is just under resistance around 66.98. And so I do believe between this 0.236 and the 0.382 to be another range that we could stay sideways in between once we get up to that level again, just kind of above and below my 66.91 Satoshi line there. The 0.236 line is at 69.52 swing high local resistance, and the 0.382 to recap is at 62.47. And so I do believe there is some thick resistance ahead of us. Overall, I am still, at this very moment, long-term bullish still, even though we have these very, very scary sell suggestions against the price of Bitcoin, and we could very well see some, mid-term or slightly prolonged sideways action or bearish accumulation for the price of Litecoin against the price of Bitcoin, as there's plenty of fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the market, and support is going to have to be found for Bitcoin before the rest of the cryptocurrencies can make their gains. When we consider Bitcoin itself, we can see this almighty sell-off playing out kind of the way that I suspected it to. Coming all the way back down to that 0.5 line, bouncing between the 0.618 and the 0.5 line, 34K to 41K. Is going to be a very significant range that we're going to be bouncing between moving forward. I do believe as price action is going to be under this 200 daily moving average for this period of time, we're going to have some very aggressive sell pressure off of it. It's just like this candle, kind of like yesterday. And so I do believe that I believe that, like I said, that 41K to 34K is going to be ultimately a very sort of like short-term bullish, like mid-term bullish zone that we could bounce, have some multi-$1,000 moves upward and downward between. Bounces off of that 32K support line is ultimately going to be long-term bullish as well. Short-term bullish signs are candles closing and continuing to close above 34K. Some retests. Some of these wicks might have to occur. Like, we have swing lows of like 34.8, we have 35.2, and we have like 36. 4, and then we have this most recent kind of swing to 37.1. And so if we continue to make these higher lows, I do believe we can interact with that resistance much sooner, although I do suspect some further pullbacks to those that kind of toward that 0.5 line to be in the kind of near future here. And so lots going on for Bitcoin right now, lots going on in the cryptocurrency market, plenty of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Let me know in the comments down below what you're doing with your bag. If you have one, are you trading during all this crazy volatility? Are you holding diamond hands through the whole thing? Or did you sell with all the rest of the fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the market? Lots going on. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for hearing my analysis. Check out all the social media down below. Subscribe here on YouTube. Try EngineeringRobo free with a link in the description. Let me know in the comment section down below. Do you trade? Do you hold? Or do you let the price action unfold? Are you trading during all this crazy volatile up and down in this sideways market? Are you holding? Are you diamond hands through all this big sell-off? Are you accumulating at these lows to reach the all-time highs again? Or did you sell everything and you out of the crypto market with the rest of the fear, uncertainty, and doubt currently present? Thank you for tuning in, and tune in for the next one.